Hey everyone, we're ready for comparison number 3. You know, the one character that's associated with Brother in many ways is his sister Bear. Is his sister, Sister Bear. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what are the differences between Sister in the Big Chapter Book series and the PBS series? Well, just like with Brother, Sister is the same character overall in all 3 scenarios. She's the same character in the First Time Book series, same character in the PBS series, and the same character in the Big Chapter Book series. But just like Brother, there are a few differences. For example, there's a story in the Big Chapter Book series that basically has Sister being put, along with her best friend Lizzie, being put into Brother Bear's class. That's right. And that, if you think about it, goes back to what I was talking about with Queenie in the PBS count, in her PBS version. But anyway, the thing about Sister that makes her a little different, that kind of makes her different from her PBS series and the First Time Book series. In the Big Chapter Books, she acts a little bit more mature. True, she acts the same way, like I said, but she acts a little bit more mature, like she understands more. For example, in this story, The Love Match, where they try to pair up Bertha Bear with Milton Chubb, basically in this quotation, which we see here, when Brother tells Sister that it should be any day now that the coach Grismeyer will get word as if they're in the wrestling league or not, he tells him if the answer ends up being yes, then Bertha won't have any time for Milton. But here's something you don't normally hear out of a young 3rd, 4th grader. And that is, Sister quote says, please. Sister Bear's first rule of romance. That's a little different, isn't it? If a girl really likes a boy, she'll make time for him. And in the end, it basically says that Brother is a little impressed about that, because it seems to him that his little sister was growing up. In other words, it's basically saying, that one little line there is saying that, well, Sister understands, is mature enough in these books, I should say, to understand that if a girl like Bertha likes someone like Milton, or if a girl like Bonnie likes Brother, but they have other activities, they will always find time to be with that person. It makes sense, doesn't it? And in the end, Sister ends up being right, because Bertha does end up finding time to be with Milton and all. Anyway, like I said, the biggest difference is the fact that Sister Bear acts a lot more mature than she does in the First Time Book series. As a matter of fact, the maturity actually shows up a little bit in the PBS series, if not a lot. So that's the only similarity there. Yeah, besides her just being herself. The maturity level, which is unbelievable. But what are the other differences? Well, like I said, there's not many differences. Not many. But there are some there. Like I said, The Love Match is a good example. There's other examples. As a matter of fact, Like I said here in the red, it's called the red-handed thief. And as we could see, Sister Bear ends up in the same class as Brother and the others. Believe it or not. Sister and Lizzie, that is. And that's another thing that's similar. Like I said, there's not much difference between Sister and all three in the three areas that she's most known for. Even the 85 series, she's still the same way. But like I said, the biggest difference is the maturity level and the understanding of things that normally a third grader or fourth grader really wouldn't understand. I mean, what she said here, and then and then her helping her brother. Wow. In this book, she basically tells her brother, hey, look, my teacher knows all about the latest pop moves. She can teach you tree stuff. So you get the idea. So basically, you get the idea, right, of what I'm saying? Basically, there's not many differences between Sister. In fact, she's probably the only exception, except for the maturity and the understanding of things that normally third and fourth graders really wouldn't understand. And that's all I can really say about Sister Bear. Next up, how about we talk about the character I mentioned around Brother, Bonnie Brown.